Welcome in, guys. Hi, my name's Halfd0rk. Welcome. So today, we'll probably get into the ongoing contests. There are a couple, two in particular, one for Sandstorm, one for Decentraland as people start to trickle in. But today, we're going to be hanging out in Box Edit, making some Sandbox assets. No, these are not real glasses. But I, your host Halfd0rk, am going to attempt to make about 3 assets, time considered. But the first thing I wanted to do, and this is something that might help some of you, especially those of you getting started, is I want to show you how to make a mannequin, an asset that is what I would consider to be the starting asset for any project. It's something I import into every single new file I make. So let me just show you what we're going to make. Something I've made in the past, and then we're going to recreate it knowing what I know now, and hopefully that'll encourage you to make your own. So first thing we're going to do, this is the file we will set up, but I want to show you what a mannequin does first of all. So Box Edit, we're going to make a new Sandstorm file. This is just an idea. We're going to import a hierarchy. And that hierarchy is going to be this mannequin that we create. So here's the one that I've been using for many, many months now. And all it is a shadowed out character, roughly the size of a humanoid avatar. And we can see here it's got, the shape and size of a character. More or less, all we really need is the height and even the width. That'll give us the conceptualized, visualization. I'm trying to use big adult words here. The visualization of a character and how big they would be. And the other part of this template is having a controller node, a main node, and then this side node. So that would be our, fake character, basically a mannequin. So that's what we're going to be making, is what you're seeing on screen here. Don't need to look at the animations. Essentially, control node, main node, and a sub node that has our asset that when we're done, once we've made whatever asset, so let's just say we were making a giant sign. The sign needed to be the height of a human. Once we build it and we put it in our animator, we can see, oh, great, I have the size of the human. I can delete this, and then I would export whatever file. So we're going to go ahead and walk through those steps. First thing, you'll probably make your asset file. So this is our mannequin v1. This is what we're going to be working from. The next thing is I would go into the templates. And so these are the steps I would walk through and to make my own new mannequin. We're going to do a medium human template. So this will give us a good idea of the scale. I would also put it in its own template folder. So we can see here I have a human medium. I'm going to go ahead and overwrite it. I think this will overwrite it. Yeah, so a file already exists. We're replacing the old template with the new one. And so now we have our medium human template. So a couple things here. We don't want all of these files, all of these Vox files that make up our human. So you see we have the chest, the head, the left arm, etc., etc. Instead, we can just go to the head, and I'll use this one for fun. We're going to click these 3 little dots, the hamburger menu, I believe it's called. We're going to export as a Vox. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and put it in our templates folder as well. This will be our human head. It looks like I already had one. We're going to overwrite it and then exit out of that template file. We'll now go back into our mannequin file. And we're going to start by making our child nodes. So first node, you always want to make this in a new project, is a controller node. But this template that we're making right now kind of does it for you. So we've made our controller node. Now we're going to make child node. This will be our main. So this will be whatever asset we're building. And then we're going to make our sub or slash test node. So with this the sub slash test node, we're going to be putting that head that we just created. So our human Vox head. First thing you'll notice is it's on the ground. So one thing that I will check for you, just so it doesn't sound like I'm guessing here, our humanoids are roughly 60 voxels tall. And so I checked right before the stream started. You can see here the head itself is 24. But if we go to 60 and then move our pivot point, you can see with the head, it's roughly, now let me move the head into place, give or take 60 voxels tall. So with that knowledge, and we have about 24 in terms of width, we can go back into our animator and our mannequin, and we're going to take this head and we're going to make it 60 voxels. We'll place the head at the top, and using the same scale as the actual humanoid medium template, we'll put our character right in the middle here. And now we're just going to make a super generic shape of our character. So I'm going to paint them entirely black, maybe a little gray. And I'm going to make a new layer here just for exercising. Hey, CT, welcome in. So CT, we're working in Vox Edit today, so if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the mirroring. And we're going to make a super simple shape of like a humanoid character here. It's not going to be perfect, but again, this is a mannequin. All it's really doing is giving us an idea of the shape. So now that we have that, I'll go ahead and mirror just the X, and we'll shape these up. We'll come inward for like the thighs and then the groin area. It looks so dumb, but hey, mannequins look dumb, right? Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong? Don't answer that. I'm usually wrong. Cool. So we have our mannequin here. Sorry, I'm giggling. I'm giggling. And now we'll also make some arms, little stick figure arms. Generally speaking, you'll want to optimize this, but this is never going to make it into the game. Whatever you're building, this asset is, you know, just for looks. I spent a little bit of extra time to make my mannequin, which I use on a daily basis. I'll just say that much, to make him look a little bit more refined. But here we have our mannequin, very quick and dirty. We'll go ahead and save it, exit out. And so now we have our mannequin, and they are on their own node. I would move them to the side. So generally speaking, put it on the 0 Z axis or Z, and then probably like 10 voxels to the left or right. And now that's our template. This template, we can now save it, and we'll file, save as, and I'll make sure I save it into my templates folder. So I use templates very frequently. It's a great starting off point. You can see here I have an avatar file. This particular mannequin, so we'll call this one a mannequin. We're saving it. And so now I can start any project, which we're going to do that. I'm going to be making some Christmas themed assets. Yay, holidays, yay. So today I wanted to make the North Pole. So we're going to do North Pole underscore V1. This is how I name my files. You know, it's good for organization purposes when you have tags as well as version numbers. So we're going to do North Pole. And now I'm going to, starting in this new file, import hierarchy. We can go to our Vox Edit folder, and now in our templates folder where I saved my mannequin, I'll import it. And so all of a sudden, I no longer have to make a controller node. I don't have to make a main node. I have this file ready to go, and it has in my scene a visualized size asset for a character, you know, a voxelized avatar that's running around, the player themselves. So with that in mind, now I can start building, and I'm going to make it the North Pole. So the first thing I wanted to do was make some snow. And this snow is basically going to be a white flat portion that's going to end up being like a mound on the ground. And so I don't often work with non templated assets. I'll just say that much. Hence why I make this avatar and such. But what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to make kind of like a slope, and then we're going to have the pole sticking up and out of it. So let's go ahead and make our slope node. Then I'll make a child node. So here's how I work, and this can be different, said differently for everybody. The controller node I don't touch until we get to animation. The main node is basically a backup. So if I ever need to move something around, I can move it via the main node. Slope node is going to be specifically, for that unique asset, aka the slope. And then I would also make, attached to my main node, our pole node. So the pole is going to have its own children, such as P1, but the pole is going to be the North Pole, sticking out of the snow mound. So I called this slope. I think it would make more sense if I called it mound. And we'll do snow mound more specifically. And we can see it's already a little bit small in terms of scale. So with this asset, I'm going to go ahead and increase the size twice, and then I'm going to bring the y-axis back to 1. And now, with that in mind, we also want to set to center, set to floor, our pivot point. Now I'm going to start building a mound. We're going to make it super simple at first, such as S1, we'll do duplicate S2, rotate it. I usually, whenever I work in box edit, I try to get the shape of something first, and then I come back and start to work on the details. We've got S1, S2, and S3. And you guessed it. Guess what comes out? Guess what comes after S3? S5. That's right. And we put that on the back side here. Now we basically have, the starting point to our mound. And this is very rough. That is not what the mound will look like at the end. At the end, I want it to slope upward, and we're going to give it some very gradual tilting. But I can at least add the pole. So we'll do North Pole. And this is going to be the actual kind of pole itself. Yeah, sure. We'll just name it North Pole for now. I'm going to use the maximum height allotted, which I believe is 248. 56? Yeah, I think 256 is the highest. Yep. And then I'm going to shrink the width. We'll do 6 and 6. And we're going to take our palette. I'm actually going to load a palette here. So the palette we load will be a Sandbox palette. This was shared throughout the community. If anybody wants this palette, please let me know. I'll be happy to send you the file. It is just a PNG. It's a line of colors that gets imported into Sandbox. And so we'll take the red, and we have 6 voxels in each direction to work with. So I'm going to make a relatively blocky pole here. And we can go ahead and fill in these as well. So the trick here is going to be creating the color. And the color is going to be candy cane. So if you've ever seen the North Pole, which I don't think anyone has, but we can all visualize it, it kind of looks like a candy cane. So we're going to take the white. We'll do F2, 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 and we'll keep that in mind for future coloration. And I'm going to attempt to mirror and just kind of wrap it around. So I can already see that won't look good with the X mirror. So I've removed the X mirror. And we're just going to dance this candy cane color around. And we can see it meets here. So I think having that mirroring on will not help me. So instead, we'll go back, and then we'll just do it manually. Nope, we want to remove the mirroring, please. Go ahead and try to bring this all the way down. And based on this selection and the size of my pole here, I want it to meet exactly where this one ends. So we'll go ahead and cheat it a little bit. And we'll end it right there. And then I'll just remove the red here. And then I'll go ahead and fill in the rest of the white. So again, we're going for that candy cane color. So all it is red and white, but we want to make sure it encompasses, you know, the same size. It looks, you know, like a stripe, a twirl, a twist, whatever you want to call it. And then we need it to end at the same point. We also do need to keep in mind that the white will overlap. So we'll keep that there. Something like this. Well, welcome in, everybody. If you ever have questions, I'm here just demonstrating what I know, the knowledge I've made, you know, in the months of Sandbox. So if you have questions, whether it comes to Vox Edit, Game Maker, you know, going through the process of making your first asset, just let me know. I'm here to help. We want to keep the stripe consistent, but that's relatively consistent. I mean, there's only so much I can do without gutting it. Looks nice. Cool. So now that we've got our generic shape, I can take this layer. So we can see here I have my own unique layer. I'm going to duplicate it. So I'll duplicate the layer. We'll clone it. And we'll bring it up. And all things considered, it's going to loop seamlessly. Yay! Hey, Mosquito, welcome. What's up? So same thing, except this time I can save myself some steps by merging these two layers, cloning it again, grabbing, and shifting it back up. And once I have the layers realigned, rinse and repeat. So we'll merge it down, clone the layer, grab the new layer, and bring it up. Nice. So before I go the full distance here, which we can see I've actually lost a portion of my my pole there, but I think we'll be fine. Yeah, that one doesn't matter too much, so I'll just remove it. Wait. Will that be fine? That's the real question. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, we'll save it, go out, and then we'll check the size. So we can see here with my my turkey boy mannequin, I can put the pole in the pre-made child node that we set up. And a couple things I'll notice immediately is my pole is off center. So that means we should go set to center, set to floor, and we'll save it. And honestly, that's the right height that I would imagine this north pole would be. It probably doesn't need to be any bigger. Any bigger, you won't be able to read the sign, you know, because we're going to be making a North Pole sign. So what I'll do is I'll do North Pole underscore V1. This one is going to be North Pole underscore V2. So the one I'm working in is V2. I'll go ahead and crop it, and we will add a nice little button on top. So let's go ahead and merge these layers. We'll rename it. This one will be pole. We'll make a new layer. New layer is going to be like a knob. I don't know how else to name it. Knob. You know, it's like the big circle on top of the pole. So we'll do an extra probably 8 voxels. And because we're going to give us a little bit of a rim. We're going to do 8 and 8. We'll take the pole and we'll place it directly center. So I'll grab it using the selector tool and the rect tool, and we'll shift it 1 to the left and then 1 forward. And so that gives us a 1 voxel perimeter on every side, because we added 2 to the front and 2 to the left and the right. So now I'll go ahead and start working on the knob layer, and we'll start with a very generic shape here. So I'll just use the pencil tool. I'll just make a very quick kind of like box for us to work in, because we are working from a new layer, so I can't actively select this candy cane pole. In theory, I could totally duplicate it, but this does save me a little bit of time in the future. We'll paint this in. I can also use the X-ray here at the top to get a better feel. And I can see the edges. Now that I have the knob kind of positioned, I can hide the pole. And now we'll go ahead and shift our color here, and we'll make a kind of like a box shape. So we'll do something like this. And we're using a different color here, so we can easily change what color we're working from. Like maybe we wanted it to be white. All I have to do is adjust it on this side here. We'll paint it in. I'll take the face tool, extrude it to the top of the design. We'll take a quick look at the scale of it back in our animator. And it looks kind of like a light, but it's the right shape. Now I just need to round this out a little bit. So I'm going to try and make this a little bit more circular. So the best way to do that would be using our block tool. I'm going to attempt to shape it and give it like a square on each side. I'll go ahead and use the box tool, and that way I can just click and drag here. Click and drag on each of the faces. We'll remove the corners, so it'll give it more of a spherical shape. And then we'll also remove the corners on this darker yellow. And I kind of want to give it a glow, and we'll see how that looks. With this rim, not so much. Instead, I'll kind of make it feel more like a copper. Cool. So we've got our North Pole. So we have the pole, and that's got everything connected, and it's got a great little bulb on the top of it. Now I'll make a sign that I can, attach to it. So we'll do a new VXM. This will be North Pole sign. For this one, I would like to make it. Well, there's not really a breeze in Antarctica, is there? So I don't have to make it like flapping the wind. So maybe this will be more like a street sign. It'll be kind of like pinned to the pole. So using that thought, first thing I'll do is I'll import that palette. And we'll get a proper scope of sign itself. So taking the size of things, I'm going to start with 64 by 1 by 64, and I'm probably going to make like a rectangular shape here. I personally like the screen rect tool, but you'll usually get artifacts like this. Just got to remove them. And so with that in mind, let's go ahead and crop this. And then looking at this, I'll probably just a little. We'll set to center, set to floor, save it. And with our poll, I'm going to make a new child node. This will be the sign. So the sign itself won't need any extra child nodes. Now we can take it and we'll position it where it's like probably a little bit above avatar height. So somewhere like this. I'll then take another layer here. So we'll do 2. And I'll add another face. And then we'll go back to the white that we chose. And I'm going to go ahead and paint in using the box tool and the color selection, color mode. Kind of give it like a border. And then we'll go ahead and pick like a close to black color here. And I'm going to try to write, to the best of my ability, North Pole. N. Judging by this, so north. Yeah, we can fit North Pole. We'll do all caps. So it looks like we're screaming. Because that's what all caps means, screaming. Oh, I don't know if we'll fit anymore. It's gonna be close. North. Oh. North Pole. It's North Pole. I don't think we fit. Close, but no cigar. So how can I adjust some letters here? First of all, let's take a look at it. In the animator. So a couple things. Again, we're starting from a point of, simplicity. We want to gauge the scale of it before we focus on the details. And I mean, overall, it's not terrible in the amount of time that we've spent on it. A couple things. I do like the size of the text. I'll probably adjust the sign rather than the text. Some of these letters, I want to ensure they have the same width. I think kerning is the word. Is it like kerning? Kerning is the spacing between individual letters or characters. Tracking is the space between letters of an entire word in equal increments. So we are working on like the tracking and spacing. It's a typography word. So we're working on the kerning here. So with our kerning, I'm going to want all of our letters to be exactly 5 voxels across. So there's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can see here our P. I skipped it a little. North Pole. We can also consider a different font. For now, it's nice. And then 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, some of these letters. So like T, for example, might be a little bit more asymmetrical. It might even have like 6 voxels across. Or 4. How'd 4 look? We did 4. That T is too tiny. Tiny T. So in order to fix all this, I'm going to be adding some extra voxels to the width of our sign. And we'll reposition the entire sign here. And I'll go ahead and remove the red section. We'll continue to add up to the width, though. So now I have my canvas again. We'll flesh out these letters a little bit better. I want these to be a little bit thicker. But again, like once you get to a certain point, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. We'll start like this. See how this feels. We really want to see this in game. The only problem is we can't really do it immediately, at least not during the stream. And that's just because of the current way that Vox Editor and the marketplace interact. Not terrible, though. A couple things to note is our spacing. I think having the letters themselves be right next to each other is a bit of a boon. It's a perk. So why can I not grab this P? Why can I not grab the P? Why can't I grab it? I don't understand. Looks like it was just lag. Okay. So let's focus on making the letter first. So again, I want to make sure these are kind of one voxel apart from each other. And they're all using the same kerning, so the same length. 5 is what I prefer, but some of these letters, such as T and also N, need the extra 6th. So we'll go ahead and move these to where they are considerably closer together. I can come back and worry about these extra little artifacts a little bit later. Go ahead and shift all of this. And I'll fill in the blanks here. And we'll make the red, I should say the black, E. 3, 1, 2, 3. North Pole. Something like that. It feels a little bit unbalanced, but that's only because of the L here with this negative space. Overall, pretty happy with this. Looks nice. It's neat. I would probably change some of that. Yeah, I'm into it. Let's do it for now. So we'll keep that. And I'll go ahead and shift all of these to where they're a little closer. That's too close. Maybe one less. Like that. And then we'll fill in the rest of the color. Fill, fill, and fill. We can glimpse it from the top, make sure everything's full. And now I'll take the red and we'll make sure our border is colored. Nice. So we can see the North Pole section itself needs to be adjusted. So this time I'm going to use the box tool. It's a little bit more consistent. And we can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can move this down 1. So that'll make it more center. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 white to the right, 1, 2, 3-ish to the left. So I'd probably make this 21. Nope. 71. And then I can also add red border to the side. And we'll want to be shifting pretty much all of this, all these letters here. 1, to the left or the right. I think it's actually centered right now. So let me fill in the rest. Just make sure we got them all. Looks good. Let's take a look at it. North Pole. Pretty legible, right? Me personally, the one thing I don't like about voxel style is it's too perfect. So it's like everything is on a line, you know? Of course we can adjust that, and that's something I would probably do if it was like a post-apocalyptic North Pole. I feel like that'd be fun. But yeah, pretty happy with that. We'll go ahead and make sure our pivot point set to center, set to floor, save. You can see it's all lined up. Nice. Oh, our back here covered in white. So we actually want to take the red. We'll do the face tool. We can just, with the color, make sure everything is selected. Save. Nice. So now the last thing we need to do is focus on our mound here. So the mound is going to be the fun part. So we can see the pole is firmly placed, but now the mound, which is its own node, we're going to be giving it some slow tilting. So let's go ahead and attempt it. So we'll do, each one has like its own section. So we'll do S1A. I'll basically attempt to rotate and shape these where they kind of like arrive on the ground in different, like snow forming around a pole, you know? This is intricate work, but part of the process nonetheless. We'll probably just go 3 out for each side. This one, we'll make another child node. This will be S2A. S2A. Maybe this one will shape a little bit. Something like this. But the key thing here is we want to get that slow descent. So I'm trying to figure out the best way I can approach this. Duplicate S2B. As long as it hits the ground, like we're good. You know, like once it hits the ground, it's covered. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Whatever you're up to today, I hope you have a nice Thursday. Always a pleasure to see you guys pop in, say hi. So as for events going on in the Sandstorm Metaverse, take a look. Let's see, I think I have links. No. They make it kind of difficult to find these contests, actually. But you can find them on Twitter. I know that for sure. Let's go to Twitter, Sandstorm NFTs. So over on the Sandstorm Twitter, if you want to find these contest links, first one we'll take a look at Oh, look, what a handsome guy. We can see we got quite a series of things going on. Yesterday was sand or no sand. Always fun. Okay, where's the contest, Sandstorm? Sandstorm contest. Man, they're posting every day. Love to see it. Builds, 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 builds. 100 sand giveaway. Did you guys know about that? So here's the Decentraland contest. So if you guys want to explore Blender, that's what Decentraland primarily uses. And here's the contest page. Glad we found it. So ending in 10 days is this Decentraland contest. So we'll take a quick look at it. What's up, Fashul? Welcome in. So new year, new me for Decentraland. So lots happened throughout 2022 and changed you into a completely different person. With the new year coming up, you start looking for ways to represent the new you to the world. After much deliberation, you determine that an outfit is what you need to make, but which one? So now you're, for Decentraland, developing wearable pieces that make a statement. So up to 1,500 triangles, and so that's like a polygon, so a face per wearable, 500 triangles per accessory, and then you can also make a skin wearable instead, where the triangles are permitted to be 5K and 5 textures. Prize pool is pretty big for the Decentraland contest. 2,500 USDC, 25,000 dollars. I almost said grand, but 25,000 grand. Wouldn't that be like 25,000? You know what? Moving on. But yeah, great little contest here. If you want to create a character based around yourself, this is a fantastic opportunity. 10 days remaining for that one. The other one is the current Sandbox contest going on. You guys have 3 days to make this one. This one's a blacksmith, or more specifically, a battle siege contest. And you can do pretty much anything as long as it's a fortress siege. So builders must create a scene from a fortress siege. Defend the sand hold. So this one, the deadline's coming quick, December 25th. That is 8 p.m. on Saturday. So right before Christmas. Am I right? 25th? No, 25th is Sunday. So 8 p.m. Sunday. So you have about 3 days remaining for this contest in the Sandbox Metaverse. So making assets in Vox Edit, which we could totally do right now. I would probably spend more than an hour because these streams are generally an hour. But regardless, 1,500 sand for these Sandbox prizes, and a couple beans here. But I did hear that the prize pool is going to start seeing a little bit of a boost thanks to our friends over at the Sandbox official. So keep your eyes peeled for the next Sandstorm contest. But this one is ongoing, a great way to exercise your Vox Edit capabilities. Make, a blacksmith, make something epic, forged armor, trolls battering down the moat and assembling, in front of the giant gate, and they have to break it down somehow. Anyway, you're just making a scene. It's got to be 8 seconds of animation. That's the kicker there. But it can't be too big. 512 by 512 by 512. Still pretty big, pretty large there. But yeah, good luck everybody who is participating. Now back to the holiday assets. We're making the snow pole, the North Pole, and we made a little chicken humanoid avatar. But that's a good, I think, tool for any Vox editors to have a mannequin of some size. All right, so let's keep building. Duplicate S4, or no, this is S2B. All we're doing is making sure this touches the ground. It's uniform. Unfortunately, you can't move multiple assets at the same time, but you can, move the parent. And if you use parents well, you'll be able to place them in ways that allow you to kind of fake it. Fake it till you make it. That's what they say. Okay, this one will be S. to E. And right now I'm using some relatively random naming conventions, but I'm keeping them, in check. I'm not actually making, like randomized names for each category. Instead, it's like S1 through 7. They're all using the same initial letter and the following number, sequential. And so getting a curve here would be nice. But we can't get everything we want for Christmas. In fact, I'm going to start making some smaller snow. So snow 2, I'll probably trim a good portion of it, close it, crop it, pivot it, and save. And we can drag and drop the new one over here. You can see it's got a lot more space for us to wiggle our way through. And we'll go ahead and position it. Perfection. And of course, snow's not perfect either, so I don't have to worry about this too much. But I do want to give it, enough attention for what it deserves. That's good for now. We'll go ahead and duplicate it again. Do S2F. Move it over. We can even rotate it to fit in this little spot even better. Duplicate again. S2 comes after FG. Nice. Okay, so we'll keep building this mound. And one thing that will help solidify this in our own games is to have a block that matches it. So, having white snow blocks, for example. Cool. So one thing I can do is I can also duplicate this parent node. So this time we'll do S6. And we can rotate it. And maybe save us a couple steps by just simply removing another one. So this one we can delete. And then this S6 that we made, we can push into place. And of course, I do want to see this in game, but we just aren't able to do it immediately because of the way Sandbox has been updating the marketplace. So, but we can rinse and repeat this. We'll do S7. Delete this one. Nice. So we've already got ourselves a good shape. Now we just need to make sure all of our ramps are kind of set in place. And this mound is pretty much done. It'll even be walkable, so you'd be able to walk up it thanks to the IK in game. So, what's the best way to approach this? Well, I mean, it's kind of boring after that point because I'll just be reorientating that mound a few times. So instead, I kind of wanted to make an ornamental shooting gun. Is that bad? So it's like an ornament gun. I want to get started on it just for fun. So we'll go ahead and import a hierarchy. Again, we can use that mannequin we just made just for scale. And so an ornament gun would generally be a weapon. This ornament gun, I would probably give it a couple different behaviors, so I wouldn't want it to be an equipment, but at the same time, I think it should be. So what I'll do is I'll go into templates, and we're going to be using blades. So blades is the only equipment template that we have access to. So I'll go templates, and we'll do blade. We'll do template blade, just so I can understand. Like, oh, that's the template blade. Like, I'll immediately know. So then we're going to go into a new hierarchy, or a new file. I'll go ahead and make a new file for this. This will be ornament gun underscore v2. And now I'm going to import that blades file that we just took from. So that'll be in our templates folder. And I saved it as template underscore blade. Cool. So a couple things here. It imported the humanoid. So I don't think we can work from this file. So this is an important thing to note. You cannot import a template, aka this sword template, the blade template, edit that, and then re-export it. Instead, you're going to actually want to work from the template itself. And the key reason here is because of the shadow, the silhouette. So if you notice, I can't interact with this silhouette at all. That's the way the file is structured. However, in this new file that we kind of imported, I can interact with the silhouette. In fact, it's its own editable asset. So that being said, with our blade, this is the file we want to work from. So I'm going to do save as, and I'm going to save it as a different file in my folder structure. So we'll do ornament weapon way up on v1. So with that, I'm going to start working from that file. The other ones I can delete. And we can see here, it has the correct naming convention. I can't interact with the silhouette, and I can interact with the weapon. So let's go ahead and adjust this, see what we can do with it. I wanted to make kind of like a stocking, so kind of like a Christmas stocking, that you point it at things and it shoots out, you know, things you would find in a stocking, such as maybe ornaments, candy canes, coal. Coal's a pretty good option. So let's go ahead and make the shape of like a sock, you know, like a stocking. I'll go and delete this, and we'll take the line tool. For now, I'll work from one voxel, so that way I can draw it a little bit better. And I'm going to load the Sandbox palette. We'll go ahead and use green for this one. That's my favorite color. And we'll start drawing. And because I'm only drawing on one voxel height, I don't have to worry about, you know, my voxels going in directions they shouldn't. I can focus more on the shape. And so we're technically making like a Christmas gun, but we want that stocking shape. And we want the player to kind of be holding the stocking as though it was like the foot of it. That's our starting point. And so if it's at the foot, that means this opening is going to be larger, and it's going to have like a rim of white for, you know, like a stocking. This is actually going to go a little bit further out. So we'll do 20. And I'll take all my progress here, shift it up. We can make that toe. And I'll worry about the pivot point once we've decided on a shape. It's not bad, but now it looks too big. we'll fill in this space. And then we probably wanted to make it a little bit thicker. I think that's pretty good shape. I'll go ahead and crop it now. And then we're going to start building upwards. So we'll do probably 8 to start. Let's go ahead and fill the whole space. And then we can take the white color. We'll make that rim that we were kind of mentioning. In fact, I can just color it from the one side here. And we'll probably make like an opening like this. So we're making like an ornamental Christmas weapon. So that being said, we have our shape, but we need to position it to where it's logically, in the character's arm. I think we'll do set to center, and then we'll position the pivot point. And we want it to be moving as the player moves. So if I'm the player, I'm holding the weapon and I'm positioning it, which unfortunately I can't make those animations in a weapon per se. We have to keep in mind that the default animations are going to be them swinging it. So swinging this ornamental gun, I believe we'll want it facing the opposite direction, because when they're running around carrying it, it'll also be pointing outward. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to flip this. There we go. So I flipped it on the Z-axis. Now I'm positioning it again. I want the trigger to be kind of where the foot is. That's just how I visualized it. I mean, making a gun in Sandbox, we don't really have the ability to animate them properly. But just for kind of like a brief introduction to animation before we end today, I wanted to just kind of like demonstrate like this ornament or an object kind of like animating. And so super simple. We're just going to make a very small cube. That'll be fine. We'll set to center, save it. And we're going to make the idle animation have that ball jettison out of it. And with weapons in particular, you have to be extra careful with nodes. So I believe with a node, you actually cannot use more than required. So for example, I actually cannot, in this template, add nodes. Instead, I can fake it. So we had a blade, we have a grip, and we have a guard. So right now, my blade is that stocking. So what I'll do is instead, I'll put the blade as the handle, and then this ball or the item itself is going to be the blade, and it's going to kind of like erupt from out of it. I don't even think we can animate these, can we? I suppose that makes sense. Oh well. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Can we add a keyframe? Can I make a new animation? So it appears as though I can't even unlock it. Well, that's unfortunate. So yeah, templates are locked. So animated weapons, however, I know there's a way to do it. I've seen people use animated weapons before. So if anybody out there has made an animated weapon, I've made one, but I think I unlocked the template before, and I think that also caused it to break. Oh well. So thanks everybody for watching. That's going to be it for our show today. We made a quick introduction to the mannequin. So we made this chicken limbed character here in the first like 10 minutes. And so that's a great tool to add to your Vox Edit arsenal. I would highly recommend every one of you make a mannequin or some other scalable asset, so like a banana for scale, just so you are able to create around it and have an idea visually of like how big something should be. And so I think that's the best benefit of our you know, show today. But then we also made this North Pole. I think it looks great. I think over the next couple minutes, I'll probably do this off stream, but we'll make the snow mound there. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. That's going to be it for me. Just be good to yourself. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you have a great weekend. Yeah, happy holidays from Sandstorm. Catch you later.